So you want to start cosplaying, but you're really unsure of where to start. Well, this video is for you. Hello my lovelies and welcome back. Today is a super special episode for me because I get to help all of you start your cosplay journey. I'm going to show you how to get started from the beginning planning stages all the way to getting ready for your con. So let's get started. Okay, so picking a character. Sounds super easy, right? Well, it can be pretty daunting, especially if you're like me and you love a million different characters and you're just not sure where you want to start. The best way for me to narrow it down is to take into consideration a few factors. One, comfortability. And yes, I do mean how comfortable it is and things like that, but I also mean how comfortable you are in that cosplay. For me personally, I don't tend to like to wear things that show off too much skin. I get a little nervous, a little awkward and shy. So I try to stay away from the more skimpy costumes. For other cosplayers though, they're totally cool with it and they have amazing confidence, and seriously, more power to you. That's amazing. Hopefully one day we'll have that confidence. But for now, it's kind of off my list. Second factor is the weather at the convention or photo shoot or whatever you're doing with that cosplay. So if you're like me and live in Florida where it's hot a lot, cosplays with lots of pieces where you're fully covered is probably not the most ideal cosplay. But if you can manage, you're good. Make sure you drink lots of water, guys. But for me, I try to stay away from things that are a little too hot, or if I know that I'm going to be inside the majority of the time, I won't worry about it as much. Things like that. You want to take that into consideration. So the third and final thing that really helps me narrow down my cost plans is my budgets. If I don't have a large budget, I'm not going to go after a cosplay that requires maybe new tools or a lot of warbler or anything like that, because I'm just not going to be able to fit it into my budget. And the same goes for you. If you have a smaller budget or anything like that, you're going to want to try and figure out cosplays that maybe either you already have things that you can alter or anything like that. Take all that into consideration when picking your character. Okay, so you've picked your character, and now on to the second step, which is research. And honestly, probably one of my favorite stages. Once you've picked your character, you are going to want to have look into three things. One is pictures of the character. Now you want to save these as references, especially if you are going to be constructing your cosplay or constructing pieces of your cosplay. These reference photos will come in handy in the future. For reference, I'm going to use my Sailor Pluto cosplay, which is my most recent and one that I'm still currently working on. When I went through the research phase, for the first part, when I was looking at pictures, I wanted to look for, of course, her cosplay, but also she has a staff that she uses. She has a key belt that she wears, her choker, all of that. I wanted to look into all of that and save those pictures so I would be able to use that. The second thing you'll want to look into is if any other cosplayers have done this cosplay before. Not so you can copy theirs, but so you can find inspiration, see kind of what they have done, what problems they may have encountered or anything like that. It'll help you on your journey. And then the third one is looking for tutorials. If you are going to be constructing your cosplay on your own or anything like that, and you're not really sure where to start, tutorials will help a lot. I was able to find tutorials on how to make her bodysuit, her skirt, even some tutorials on her staff, none that I actually really liked. So I actually started kind of constructing my own thing, but I did find some tutorials on how to make other staffs, and that actually helped me figure out how to do the one that I created. So lots of research, guys. Lots and lots of research. The more research, the better. And then once you have all of that, then you can move on to step 3. Yay! Step 3 is planning. Yes, it's very similar to research, but planning is going to be a little bit different because we're going to look more heavily at your budget and how you're going to use that budget. So let's start with the actual cosplay itself. Let's start with the costume. All right, are you going to buy the costume? Whether that means you're going to buy a pre-made one or get it commissioned. And then the second one that you can do is you can construct it yourself. Or the third one, you can do a closet cosplay. So closet cosplay is just using pieces that you may already own in your closet or may be able to find, whether that's at garage sales or thrift stores or things like that. The make it yourself option, again, you want to make sure that that'll fit in your budget and what kind of fabrics or anything like that you'll need to construct your cosplay. Okay, so the third one is broken down into 2 spots, which you have 3A, which is pre-made cosplays that you can buy, whether this is somebody who constructed it and is now reselling it, or you can find some like through eBay or anything like that. Pre-made costumes, those aren't going to be sized to you, unless again, like you're lucky and find another cosplayer who's your size and is reselling their cosplay. And then 3B would be having it commissioned. This is somebody who is an expert at sewing and constructing costumes, and they will get your measurements and make the costume fit to you. Keep in mind though, commissions can be very expensive. You are asking somebody to take their time out of their day to create a costume for you and make a beautiful costume at that. So keep in mind, if you don't have a large budget, commissioning is probably not going to be the way you're going to go. The best way, budget-friendly wise, is going to be closet cosplays. Sometimes you get lucky and find a good resale of a cosplay that you might want to do. And then, of course, constructing your cosplays. Those are going to be the most budget-friendly for you. Okay, so you've decided what you're going to do, whether you're going to construct or buy or anything like that. Now it's time to break down your budget. For me, I found this tip a while back and I still use it. I think it's a great way to do this. Pull up a reference photo of your cosplay and break down the pricing for each piece of the cosplay. I start with shoes and wig because those tend to be the most expensive, and then go from there. Okay, so this is like a 3A. It's mostly for people who are constructing or doing closet cosplays, but it might have some helpful tips for those who are buying their costumes as well. But if you aren't interested in it, you can just go to this time and just skip right ahead. But for those who are staying, here we go. If you are looking into constructing or doing closet cosplays, one of the first things I do is scavenge. I look through what I own, what maybe some friends own that they're willing to part with, things like that, things you can get for free, and look through all of that and even think of maybe some ways you might be able to alter some of the items that you already own to fit your character. In my case, for Sailor Pluto, the only things that I really had were the boots, and then I had some PVC pipe for her staff, and then a little bit of cardboard and styrofoam for her staff as well. But that was really all I had in the way of scavenging, so I knew that I was gonna definitely need to find some more stuff. So from there, I went the what I call the cheap options. I went through eBay, through actually sometimes Amazon can be kind of cheap depending on what you're buying. I went through Facebook groups and different cosplay groups, selling cosplay groups, just to find anything Sailor Pluto, and you can do the same thing for yourself. There are a ton of Facebook groups that you can find that have resell cosplay stuff, and eBay is also a great option if you're not worried about it looking a little cheap on the cheap side. For example, again, my Sailor Pluto, I did end up going and finding a option on eBay, and it came with the Sailor Scout dress, came with the gloves and the tiara, as well as all the bows that were on the dress. It was really inexpensive, and so I ended up buying that. And I was unsure of how the quality was going to be, but I knew at least if I had that costume already done, if I had to make any alterations or anything like that, it would be easier doing it on a costume that was already made for me. And that was probably the best option. Then again with the wig, then I went to the wig, and the wig was pretty easy as well. Again, I found that one on eBay. I found a really cheap option. I think it was about 20 bucks. Yeah, and it ended up being a beautiful wig, and I love that wig. Also, for some cheap options, look at local thrift stores, garage sales, yard sales, anything like that. That can also help you find some pieces for your cosplay. Third and final, if you can't find pieces in any of these former options, whether you've scavenged or you've looked through all the cheap options, you still can't find it, then it's time to unfortunately go retail, which means looking at retail stores like Walmart, Target, Amazon even sometimes is kind of on the expensive side, just looking anywhere for the pieces that you need. So we've picked our character, we've researched our character, and we've planned out our character. Now is time for the construction and the fitting. So if you're actually building your costume, this is the time where you would actually start putting all those pieces together, sewing, molding the warbler or anything like that that you need to do. And this can be a lot of fun and can be kind of tedious, and this is where all the hours go in. If you bought your cosplay, this is also the time where you might want to fit it, make sure that it fits properly. If you may need to make any alterations, you want to do that. During this stage, you do put the costume on a lot and take it off and on and off and on until it just fits perfectly. But you're going to be so happy at the end when you actually get to bring this character to life. So number 5 is props. I put this last because it is the last detail that I personally work on. I do try to work that within my budget as well, and give myself some leeway when I do my costuming, so that way I have money for whatever props that I might want to make. But when you're thinking about props, you also want to take into consideration how you're getting the props to and from the con. If you are driving, you have a little more leeway as to how big your props can be. But if you're like me, like I'm going down to SuperCon for and going to be Sailor Pluto, I actually had to come up with a way to disassemble my staff so I would be able to pack it, since I will be taking a train and not be going by car. Props are very optional. Will you have somebody who comes up to you at a con and tells you that you are missing your knife or your staff or whatever? Yes, you probably will, and those guys are jerks. But you don't need it. Props are also a finishing touch for your character. If you can construct a prop, that's great. You can also look online. Sometimes you can find some people who make some really great props online. Enlist the help of your friends who might be able to help you. There's a lot you can do to find the props that you want. We've made it to the end. This is my favorite step, and this is number 6, is cos testing. If you've never heard of this before, it's basically doing like a dry run with your cosplay. Now is time to put it all on, make sure that you can move, see what limitations you might have, things like that. Also, this is the time to test any makeup. Whether you are doing full body paint or things like that, or maybe just doing a different look for your makeup. And this goes for guys as well. Guys, please wear makeup. I know that sounds funny, and to some of you it might be a little weird, but putting on a little makeup will make your cosplays go from a 5 to a 10. And that goes for everybody. But this is my favorite part because I get to try new looks and try out different eye shapes. And for me, I'm not the best with makeup. So it gives me the opportunity to play around and figure out exactly what I want to do. Also, if you end up doing a look that you love, one of my tips is to take pictures of it. Take pictures of every angle you possibly can, and then even take pictures of the different makeups that you used and that you were happy with. So that way when it comes time to actually do the character again, you remember which eyeshadow palette you used, or which body paint was the best, and which sealant, whatever you were using. All of it's right there for you in those pictures, so you can easily just grab it and go. You've made it! You've made it all the way through. You've picked your character, you've researched and you've planned and you've constructed, and you've even cos tested. Now you can breathe for a second before you have to go put it all on and get ready for your con. If you've used all these steps to create your first cosplay and you are about to go to your first con, congratulations. I'm so proud of you, and you're gonna have a blast. Send me pictures. Yeah, send me pictures, and tag me if you use this video to help you get into your first cosplay, whether you're using it to go to your first con or make a video or anything like that. Please, I want to see them all. Alright, so that is the end of this video, but I'm hoping the beginning of your cosplay journey. Like I said, if you use this video or if you are just starting cosplaying, please feel free to tag me. I love to see and support all my fellow cosplayers. You can tag me on Instagram at Dizzy.Quinn cosplay. So if you like this video or you just like my face, hit the thumbs up button. If you want more videos like this, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button so you get notified the next time a new video is out. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic day and love you all. Mwah!